From the tank on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet welcomes you into NCAA Division II women's basketball coverage live on the ECC network. In tonight's conference matchup, the College of Staten Island Dolphins host the Daemen University Wildcats. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Foreman, and for tonight's game, I am joined on the call by my color commentary partner, Nick Durst, and our engineer for tonight's game, Nick Bavona. And Nick Durst, obviously you and I have called many women's basketball games together already this season. Tonight, the Dolphins face a very tough test. Not only are they taking on a Daemen Wildcats team that defeated them earlier this season and in the conference playoffs last year, but they are doing it without their best player.
Yeah, got to be rough here tonight. Obviously, the best player for her career so far has been Jenelise Alarcon. Late scratch from the starting lineup. We'll see if we can find out what happened there, but we're probably not going to know. So we'll see what happens here as the starters are getting announced now. Alarcon's presence is certainly going to be missed, and you're going to see a very short bench for the Dolphins in this matchup tonight.
Now, we are on a bit late, so it's going to be a very abbreviated McDonald's pregame show. We had internet issues on campus. IT came in, reconfigured our connection to the port in the gym. Unfortunately, we cannot connect to that port here tonight, so our pregame show was cut a bit short. We'll be on for the full McDonald's pregame show ahead of our men's game coming up next. But Nick Bavona, obviously we have a women's game coming up in just a few moments. The Dolphins without their best player in Jenelise Alarcon. What does CSI have to do to defeat this Daemen team that has now beaten them 2 straight games, a team they have never beaten head-to-head?
I think the issue now for CSI is their best rebounder now is out of this game with Alarcon not playing. And in their last game against Uville, they got out-rebounded by 12 rebounds in that game, 41-29. So if CSI can win on the glass, they'll have a good chance in this game. But without Alarcon, that now makes one of the other Dolphins, they have to make sure that they can get the rebounds when necessary.
Well, as tip-off approaches, we have the Chi Aesthetics Med Spa and Wellness Center starting lineups. My broadcast partner, Nick Durst, has those starting lineups.
First for Daemen, number 1, Gabby McDuffie. Number 2, Claire Pickett. Number 3, Alana Page. Number 13, Caitlin Matz. And number 24, Natalie Angeletti. For the Dolphins, number 2, Ashley Lambert. Number 3, Noemi Masinge, who just won the tip-off. Kaya Johnson, number 4. Dana Phelan, number 10. And number 11 is Kyra Rose.
And with the pregame show cut a bit short, we didn't get a chance to talk about where the Dolphins stand in terms of playoff positioning. CSI right now in the conference playoffs. This is a huge game for them in terms of potentially securing one of those playoff spots, as the first CSI shot attempt of the game is missed by Noemi Masinge. Wildcats have it with 18 to shoot. Jab step by Jones, she kicks out. Excuse me, that's the men's roster, as that shot is good from the corner.
That was Caitlin Matz on the three-pointer right there.
Well, my women's roster is nowhere to be found right now, as we had to scramble before coming on. Perhaps Nick has an extra copy for me, but we'll manage. This is Rose, and her shot is good. Dolphins are on the board.
And I think, guys, we're going to have to see now, with Alarcon's production now taken off the court, who for CSI scoring ability-wise can take that next step and provide the offense the Dolphins will need in this game.
We have an extra men's roster here on our side of the gym. So that's why we were one short. Feed inside, goes to Pickett, and she banks it in. So it's actually pronounced Pikett. Going back to the pronunciation guide, just had that roster handed to me, so I apologize to Claire if her family's watching. We touched on it. The Dolphins have never beaten Daemen. Daemen 6-0 all-time against CSI. Phelan, feed to Rose. Rose faces up, looks to drive, and she lost it as the Dolphins turn it over.
Well, it's certainly going to be a super weekend with sports, Joe and Nick. 4 Dolphins basketball games leading into the Super Bowl. Never seen anything quite like it here.
I will say, working on Super Bowl Sunday is going to be a first for me. I wasn't sure if I'd be here, but I was able to carve out a few hours on my Super Bowl Sunday. I'll be here for both games, along with you and Nick on Sunday.
Well, as I say in wrestling, the card is always subject to change. We won't Don't count the chickens before they hatch as far as what's going to be going on staffing-wise Sunday.
And certainly don't count on the internet working when you arrive at the gym. You'll be left disappointed from time to time. Wildcats lead at 7-2. Feed goes inside to Rose. She's double. And her pass a bit high for the cutting Masinghe and stolen by Matz. Feed up the floor. McDuffie to the rim, lays it up and in, and the Wildcats lead at 9-2.
And that's something CSI had a bit of problems with against Uville their last game. 16 turnovers in the loss against the Saints, so they need to rectify that in this game. Early on, a couple of bad turnovers for CSI.
And we've seen some slow starts from the Dolphins this year. They cannot afford that tonight, as Rose put up a wild shot there, couldn't get it to go. Daemen back the other way. Three-pointer by Matz, no good, rebounded by Lambert. And timeout was called by Nicole Sarcone. And that will become our first media timeout. 6:48 on the clock in the first quarter. Dolphins in an early 7-point hole. The Aesthetics Med Spa and Wellness Center. Our approach to beauty and wellness begins with a holistic plan tailored to the unique needs of our patients. When we consult with patients, we let them tell us what their problem is. We don't tell them what the issue is. We find out what they're looking for, and we discuss, and then we give them options. If you're looking to achieve radiant skin, you've come to the right place. We offer hydrofacials, microneedling, Opus Plasma, peels, facial and laser treatments, laser hair removal, body sculpting, fat freezing, hormone replacement therapy, Botox, IV drip therapy, and more. We are open Monday through Saturday and are located at 720 Forest Avenue, Staten Island, New York, 10310. We hope to see you soon. Visit our website at www.chiaesthetics.com for more information. And we are back from the tank, as right now they are attending to some memory issues on our camera up top. That is the reason that we have an overlay on our screen right now, but once the memory card issue is taken care of up top on the camera.
Have no fear, Joe, as Pete and Pat are both there in the camera booth right now checking it out, and they both got it fixed.
Just in time. Our second camera gave us issues last game. It appears that camera is completely dead, not working today. So we didn't have an alternate view to give you when we came back from break. This is Phelan. Too strong on the three off back iron. Rebound goes to McDuffie. Matt surveys the floor. Up top to McDuffie, defended closely by Phelan. Handoff goes to Page. 10 to shoot. Feed inside. And a foul is called as Angeletti went up in traffic.
Dolphins foul number 2, Ashley Lambert. Her first, team's first.
That's Ashley Lambert's first personal, also the team's first. And the free throw is good.
It's a shame the second camera's not working because everybody's wearing white over here on this booth, and it's also Football Friday here at the College of Staten Island, and we all have our football jerseys on as well.
One of our many Spirit Day events here on campus at the College of Staten Island. Whiteout here at the tank as well. Many of the spectators dressed in white for tonight's game. Dolphins now trail by 9, looking for their second basket. And Lambert is short, but Phelan has the rebound, can't finish with the left. And Masinghe snatches another offensive board. Lambert, short. And the rebound goes to Pikett.
Early drought scoring-wise so far for the Dolphins, as that's Alana Page from 3. And, guys, she's averaging near 21 points a game on the season, so she's had herself a remarkable start for the Wildcats.
And she took that last shot with a great deal of confidence as Rose gets a tough bank shot to go.
Kyra Rose with a nice job there with a little bit of an answer.
Feed inside, lefty layup, no good by Pikett, but she drew the foul.
You see early on, guys, from the Dolphins side of things, the ball's going a lot inside the paint to Kyra Rose as they try to get some offense from her. And that's going to force the Wildcats to try to crash inside of the paint to try to force her to kick it out and force the Dolphins to shoot from the three-point line.
Dolphins have gotten a few open looks so far from 3, but have come up empty.
Dolphins 0 for 3 from beyond the arc in this game. And they've allowed now 15 points in less than half of this first quarter. As the free throw is good by Pikett. She goes 2 for 2 from the stripe. And the Daemen lead is 12. Lizzie LaFaro and Oye Consola Oke check in for the Dolphins. And that pass is stolen. McDuffie to the basket, and she lays it in.
McDuffie right now just dominating as far as defensive presence is concerned. A few rebounds and that steal, which led to the fast break basket.
And once again for the Wildcats, quick turnover force gets the early transition bucket as they have up to a nice defensive start.
And those are baskets the Dolphins simply can't afford in this game, as LaFaro was blocked, or at least it appeared so. But instead,
looks like an air ball.
It was an air ball, and it will be Wildcats basketball.
Dolphins now are 2 of 9 to start off the game, so been a rough start for them. Meanwhile, Daemen 6 of 7 to start the game.
And there's a Wildcats turnover, and the big question right now is who is going to step up offensively for the Dolphins to keep them in this game, as they already trail by 14, and right now the defense isn't getting the job done. 18 points on the board already for Daemen.
And Kyra Rose has the only 4 points for the Dolphins offensively, so they need someone else to get them some production.
Going to have to maybe look to Maddie Haggett here to start knocking down some threes.
Haggett certainly a capable outside shooter, as is Lizzie LaFaro. And LaFaro goes down. Foul called against the Wildcats. That goes against Claire Pikett. 4 substitutions into the game for Daemen at that last horn.
And Joe, you talked about the standings when it comes to the ECC. The Dolphins right now, if the season ended today, would be the last team in to the playoffs, but they do have Malloy a half game behind them in the conference record, so they could use some wins down the stretch of the season.
No question about it, Nick. These last few games are huge. Okay, left open. Too strong from 3. LaFaro had the rebound tipped away. It's pulled in by Montgomery. Kick out into the left corner. Page up top. Short on the 3. Save is not made there. It will be Dolphins basketball.
Dolphins need to force a lot more shots like that if they want to start trimming this deficit here.
The Dolphins have 6 conference games left, including this one. Daemen has 7. And for CSI, you mentioned it, Nick, Malloy right behind them. As Masinghe gets the lay-in to go.
Beautiful job there by Noemi Masinghe getting to the basket. That is a shot you could rely on if you're the Dolphins. Start giving it to her. She always does a great job getting to the hoop.
Masinghe takes a lot of tough shots around the basket, but she is capable of making them. As Page has that shot altered. Good defense by Johnson. And good offense on the other side by Sophie Auer.
And that's another thing also, guys, on the defensive side with Alicon out now, it can force the Wildcats to go inside the paint. So the Dolphins are going to need some inside interior defense in order to get back in this one.
Well, that was Julia Hauer on that last basket. I apologize. Dolphins turn it over again. Here comes Daemen. Feed inside, tipped. At least I thought it was tipped by LaFaro. The officials pointing in the direction of the Dolphins. And that call is going to be overturned. LaFaro did tip it, and Lizzie knew it. Now going back to my previous point quickly, the Dolphins have Malloy right behind them. They did beat Malloy earlier this year, as we get a look at the very tail end of that last tipped pass. But the Dolphins do play Malloy again. That game will be played on senior night. Wednesday, February 28th. Huge doubleheader for CSI coming up later this month as Page knocks down another, and the lead is 17.
Guys, the last time we saw the Dolphins here at the Tank, they got into a hole, a 22-point deficit, were able to come back and win that game, but against a Daemen team like this, it's going to be a very big struggle for them to get back into this one.
Especially without their best player, but a nice job there by OK to knock that down.
Nice move there by OK, but looking back to that game against Mercy, Generally Salakan was such a big part of that comeback effort.
20 points at all the second half, I think.
Without Alarcon, it's going to be very tough. The Dolphins will need to play strong defense, as that open shot won't go. Offensive rebound to the Wildcats. Page off the crossover, knocks down the pull-up. The lead is back to 17.
Well, every time the Dolphins go down and score, the Wildcats are able to turn the page, courtesy of Alana, who has the quick answer.
Now 8 points for her here in this first quarter. Has the same amount of points, unfortunately, as the Dolphins team.
LaFaro kicks out for Haggett, and Haggett was fouled by Page. And if the Dolphins are going to mount a comeback effort in this game, much like they did against Mercy, it is going to have to start at the defensive end of the floor. They've allowed 25 points in this first quarter, and it doesn't matter how much they score. That's not good enough. If the defense steps up, that perhaps leads to some offense and bumps up those scoring numbers a bit. OK pulls up, and she's short on the mid-range jumper. Daemen nearly turned it over. But that ball is corralled by Bustler. And that pass too high for Howard. LaFaro will bring it up. The Dolphins can go 2 for 1 here as we approach 30 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Feed to Masinghe. She's met with a double team, and she gives it away.
Good defense there by the Wildcats to force the turnover.
Masinghe might have had an open shooter in the corner there. Wildcats determined not to allow the Dolphins to beat them on the inside. Montgomery nearly lost it. She's hobbled along the baseline, gets it back, and dribbles it off Haggett's foot. 3.7 to go in the quarter.
Well, not a great quarter for the Dolphins, to say the least. We'll see if they could clean up things as far as turnovers are concerned. But right now, the Wildcats, they're shooting lights out.
Montgomery throws one up, and that's an air ball. As the first quarter comes to a close, it was not a good one for the Dolphins as Daemen leads Staten Island 25-8. We break in between the first and the second.
Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends, live sports and watch parties, to Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Start of the second quarter coming up from the tank as they continue to attend to the memory on our camera up top. Still attending to the memory.
Getting a behind-the-scenes view right there. You can always put on the Ricky Keeler camera if we have to.
We'll let TJ know to clear the memory card as soon as he uploads any film. Pat's working on it. All right, we're back. Start of the second quarter from the tank. Dolphins trailing 25-8. Page around the back. Hits out. McDuffie working against Haggett, looks to drive and can't get the bank shot to go. We see up the floor to Phelan. Risky pass. Now Rose on the inside. Can't finish. Masinghe has the offensive board. Phelan for 3. No good. And Phelan has the rebound off the tip. Reverse layup won't go. And Rose can't make the save.
Well, a lot of nice efforts there by the Dolphins, but unfortunately, they come up empty on that possession.
And that's a killer possession, too. They had a bunch of offensive rebounds, forced a turnover on that one, just were not able to get a shot down. And now they'll have to come back out here on defense, trying to keep this within reach.
Well, even though they didn't score there, I think the bench has to like that sequence for the Dolphins. Few offensive rebounds. They got to the rim, couldn't finish, but got inside, generated an open look from three. More of that should go a long way in this game, but as I said before, it's going to start at the defensive end. They need stops. Didn't get enough of those in the first quarter. $15 on the shot clock for the Wildcats. Page picks up her dribble. Bounce pass. Intercepted by Rose. Here come the Dolphins back the other way. Crossover by Masinghe. And she gets the layup to go.
Like I said before, maybe utilize Masinghe more here offensively. The paint is pretty open without Alarcon down there. Let Masinghe do her spin moves, and she keeps getting to the hoop.
Genelise Alarcon has arrived in the bench area. Hopefully that spells good news for the Dolphins.
Well, I did say after the first quarter, the head trainer here, Allison, was running towards the locker room. I said maybe she's going to retrieve Genelise Alarcon, and she did, but we don't know. Maybe she's just going to be out there to support her teammates, but knowing her, if she's able to, she's going to try to get in the game. She's heading to the bike right now, so maybe she's going to come in.
Meanwhile, the Dolphins have opened the second quarter with 3 straight stops. So the defense doing its part. The offense looking for a bucket here to try and swing momentum in this game. 6 on the shot clock. Weesey, deep three-pointer. Short off the front rim, no good. Page throws one up, and the whistle comes. An offensive foul was called against Page.
Weesey drawing the foul.
And that's Page's second, so that's a big whistle against Page, who barreled over the defender there, no question about it. Good job by Weesey to get in the way.
Yeah, Page with 10 points. Keep her on the bench. Good
no other Wildcat with more than 4. Haggett up top for Phelan. And the Wildcats are not giving Dolphin shooters any space from the three-point line. Masinghe draws the foul.
Keep letting Masinghe go to the basket, and good things keep on happening.
Noemi has been very effective off of that crossover. Defenders having a tough time staying in front of her, and you'll see it here on the replay.
You see originally they forced the double team, was able to get past one defender, then gets past the second. Nice move to the basket to get her 2 points right there. She knocks down the free throw. So far, didn't mean to cut you off, Joe, but so far in this second quarter, a strong defensive start for CSI.
Yet to allow a basket. And now, Danny the Dolphin has made his way into the gym.
Always good to see Danny out and about.
Feed goes inside. And traveling is called. That was certainly the right call. As Pikett caught the ball in heavy traffic, could not maintain her footing off the catch. Daemen now has gone 3 minutes without a basket to start the quarter. However, the Dolphins have only scored 3 points. Rose almost lost it. Kyra now looks to drive and can't get the layup to go. She fouled Angeletti off the rebound. Montgomery will bring it up. Now Angeletti looks to attack, kicks out. McDuffie for 3. Too strong. And Rose has the rebound. Here comes Kaya Johnson. And that pass was tipped.
Brianna Moore going to check in the game. Rose to the bench.
Moore gives the Dolphins some size in the middle. And without Jenelise Alarcon, it's unsurprising to see her get some minutes. Moore got quite a few minutes last year. Hasn't played as much this year. As Kaya Johnson knocks down the mid-range jumper.
Well, Kaya's always money from the mid-range, that's for sure.
And we saw Kaya in our last game here at the Tank with that game winner against Mercy. Used the screen right there perfectly to get the 2.
Well, Nick, you used the term "we" loosely. I was not in the gym for that
true.
basket.
It's true.
But Nick had a great call. He and Andrew took us to the finish as the Wildcats do score their first basket in the second quarter over 4 minutes into the period.
Yeah, great pass there and an easy finish for McDuffie.
Okay, for 3. And that rattles out. Wildcats swing it around the perimeter here. Nats defended by Johnson. Feed inside to Pikett, and her jumper's good.
Last time these two teams played, Pikett had 20 points in the win for the Wildcats. So looking to once again try to dominate inside the paint for Daemen.
Wildcats with a pair of 6-footers on the floor, and Angeletti and Pikett. Tough matchup defensively for the Dolphins. Okay for Moore. Inside of 10 to shoot. Johnson pulls up. Too strong. And Pikett has the rebound. McDuffie. Looked to feed it inside. Instead, kicks out to Matz. Now Angeletti has it. Defended by Moore. Handoff for Montgomery. Montgomery to the rim, can't finish. And Weesey has the rebound. Johnson attacks and throws one off the rim, no good. Moore down to the floor, and jump ball was called. Good effort by Brianna Moore. Possession will stay with the Dolphins as we head to a media timeout. 4:13 remaining in the first half. The Dolphins trail 29-13.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials, check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
And we're back from the tank where the Dolphins trail by 16, and it's been a better defensive quarter for the Dolphins, who have only allowed 4 points. Unfortunately, they've only scored 5, as their offensive struggles have continued into the second.
It's been a rough go of it offensively. The Dolphins need to start knocking down some shots here.
Haggett turns it over. Here comes Montgomery racing up the floor, and she draws a foul.
And you mentioned it, the slow start for the Dolphins, but also for the Wildcats. Wildcats in this quarter, 2 for 7. The Dolphins are 2 of 10, so it's been a rough offensive second quarter for both sides.
Wildcats perfect from the free throw line thus far, 4 for 4 in the first quarter.
And the Dolphins are 0 for 9 from beyond the arc. And it's going to be really tough for the Dolphins to get going offensively without any made three-pointers. That goes for just about any team, but especially on this night.
Surprised to see Haggett not take a three-point attempt yet.
The way the Wildcats have closed out on shooters, I'm surprised the Dolphins have gotten 9 three-pointers up. They are not giving the Dolphins any space from distance.
Good defensive movement by the Wildcats this evening.
And Moore draws the foul, and will head to the line for 2 shots.
And a big reason why they're at their record, guys, is you look at their team's defense. They're allowing just under 60 points per game, 58.3 to be exact. So they are a very good defensive team when it matters the most.
And when these two teams met in the playoffs last year, Dolphins led at halftime. And we're in a position to potentially punch a ticket to the conference championship. The Wildcats with a championship pedigree, a lot of experience in those spots. Were able to bounce back. They held the Dolphins to 16 points in the second half. Wildcats working it around the paint, and Montgomery gets the roll.
Lots of passing there in the paint, and the Wildcats are able to come away with 2 as Montgomery knocks it down.
The lead is 19 points. LaFaro inside, banks it in. Nice move by Lizzie LaFaro.
Nice job by Lizzie there to hop step it to the hoop and lay it in.
Strong move to the basket by LaFaro. Dolphins back to within 17. And an open 3 is an air ball by Campbell. Here comes Johnson the other way. Okay, surveys. And Moore was pushed from behind. Power picks up the foul.
Dolphins could certainly make this interesting, guys, if they were able to make it a 10-point deficit going into halftime. That would certainly give them a little bit more breathing room going into the half.
Put them within striking distance, and who knows, maybe Generalise Alarcon does check into the second half. We'll see.
Well, that's exactly what the Dolphins did against Mercy. They were chipping away late in the first half, and they were able to cut the lead down to 10 by the start of the second half. And the CSI offense and defense both took off from there. This game is far from over, but a run here could go a long way. As Rose nearly got that shot to go in heavy traffic, but instead Daemen secures the rebound. Montgomery on the attack again. Draws the foul, and they will give her the continuation. We'll get another look on replay.
I thought maybe there was a travel there.
We get a look. The contact would negate the steps, I would think. I think that's the right call.
I don't know if the foul. I think the shot got off after the foul was committed.
More often than not, if a player is beginning the motion of gathering to shoot, they'll let it go and let the play continue on an attempt driving to the basket. But I can see why the Dolphins might not like that one. Free throw's no good, but the rebound is secured by Lapertosa. Lapertosa, yet another 6-footer for this Wildcats team. She stands 6'1".
Great job by LaFar to break up that entry pass.
And also a good job by Phelan to keep the ball in bounds to force that turnover.
Naremi and Masinge will check back in for the Dolphins, replacing Brianna Moore. Moore gave the Dolphins a few good minutes. Feed inside. Masinge, and she's rejected by Lapertosa. .15 to shoot. LaFaro looks to inbound and finds Johnson. Shot clock down to 10. Johnson looks to attack, and can't get the bank shot to go, but Masinge was fouled as she went after that rebound.
It's going to be the 5th foul on Daemen, so she'll head to the free throw line.
Wildcats foul number 33, Sophie Hour, her first. Seems good.
Foul called against Sophie Hour. Dolphins now in the bonus. And the free throw is good. And Masinge is too strong on the second, but that was last touched by the Wildcats. Good job there by Haggett. Chasing after that loose ball, they had to poke it away from her.
See a lot of second chance opportunities in this second quarter for the Dolphins. They'll have another opportunity right here.
LaFaro. Over to Johnson on the wing. She checks the shot clock. 12 to shoot. Haggett, open three. Splash.
There it is, Joe. I've been saying all game, got to get her going here. Her first three-point attempt, and it's good.
The first three-pointer made in 10 tries for the Dolphins. And that's stripped away by Masinge. LaFaro left open. Splash!
Lizzie from three. And just like that, this game is a lot closer. Nick, you pinpointed it, what the Dolphins need to do going into the half. And it's as if they listened to you, and it's spoken into existence.
Do we consider that a commentator's jinx?
The Wildcats might think so.
Yeah, they might think so.
But we mentioned it earlier. Defense leading to offense. The strip at one end by Masinge. The Dolphins moving up the floor quickly in transition. And LaFaro, given just a bit of room, capitalizes and knocks down the three.
Back-to-back three-pointers for the team.
And now,
miss right there.
A chance here to make it a 10-point game. And this game has completely turned in just a couple of possessions. Things looking very bleak for the Dolphins, down 18. Not as much, down 12. Johnson uses the Masinge screen. Phelan drives the baseline. Haggett left open for three. No good. But Masinge has the rebound. The putback won't go. And the rebound is secured by Campbell.
Waiting for the whistle there for the foul, Masinge.
As the first half comes to a close, our score heading into halftime, Daemen 35, Staten Island 23. Coming up, in just a few moments, the TLC Physical Therapy halftime report with women's basketball head coach Nicole Sarcone.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Back here at halftime for our TLC Physical Therapy halftime report with women's head coach Nicole Sarcone. I will bring it over to my broadcast partner, Nick Durst, for this halftime report.
Thanks, Nick, here at Coach Sarcone. Coach, strong finish there to close out the half. What did you like about the way you guys finished out the first half?
I think they just were locked in a little bit more on the defensive end of the floor, which turned into some running and transition, which we wanted to start the game with. I think starting the game, we were a little bit too hesitant on offense, which led to turnovers and not such great possessions that led to their transition points. So the tenacity, the pace that we played with on the defensive end, I think helped us on the offensive end at the end of that half.
Certainly, and the Wildcats, I started off really closing out really strong on all your shooters, but at the end there, back-to-back threes there by Maddie and Lizzie. Talk to us about that.
I mean, I think if we use the possession a little bit more, move the ball quicker, both sides of the floor, and get down the lane, we're going to find those kickouts. In the beginning of the half, we were trying to make one pass and go to the rim. You hadn't moved the defense yet. When we move the defense a little bit, they'll be able to get down the lane and find those kickouts, and we got to start knocking down more open shots.
All right, Coach, thanks for the time. Best of luck in the second half. All right, Nick, back to you.
And we're back here for the halftime report. We're going to kick it to commercial break. The score right now, the Wildcats lead the Dolphins 35-23 when we come back from this halftime report.
Basketball has a special place in my heart because of the experiences it has given me and the purpose I have found along the way. Basketball taught me that success doesn't require perfection. Rather, I should pursue excellence in everything that I do. Basketball has led me on a journey where I've accumulated numerous life lessons to value relationships, practice integrity, and demonstrate commitment. I've learned to welcome mistakes and not only accept adversity, but embrace it. It has the unique effect of eliciting talents in someone which would have otherwise lain dormant. It is something that builds character, an element that is essential to a player's growth and development. You sometimes wonder if all the mornings and late nights are really worth it. Then you look to your left and right, and you see your teammates beside you, and you know you're not alone. And it's comforting. When you're part of a team, there's a special joy in playing for something bigger than yourself. Basketball taught me how to embrace a community. Like music, it brings people together. When you make contributions to your team, your program, it's a rewarding feeling knowing the impact you have on the larger community when you observe how much it inspires the people around you.
Dear basketball, I was only a few months old when I took my first photograph with a ball in my lap. From that moment on, you never left me. Growing up in a small village in upstate New York, 2 miles from the Canadian border, you were my constant go-to for fun and entertainment. No matter if there was 3 feet of snow or the sun was scorching hot, I always found a way to be with you as you brought me so much joy. As a child, you always had a way of bringing the neighborhood kids together. Every day we would find our way to the circular paved patio I had in my yard with an 8-foot rim nailed to a tree. It wasn't the classiest court to play on, but it worked for us, and it's where my passion for you began. Little did I know you would take my friends and family on a journey of a lifetime. It was from you where I learned to be brave, courageous, and adventurous, that if I stuck with it through my moments of failure, disappointment, and heartache, I could achieve anything I put my mind to. Like attending Duke University on a full scholarship where I was able to surround myself in greatness both in the classroom and on the court. It is here where I truly learned how to step out of my comfort zone and discover what I was made of, refusing to let my insecurities and fears hold me back. Gail Gueston Course and her incredible staff, along with my teammates, gave me a family away from home that I could have never dreamt of as a little girl. The ACC championships, the NCAA tournaments, including the national championship game in 1999, cannot match the friendships and relationships I developed because of basketball. See, I find it to be the relationships that we develop through our sports participation that are in fact the most meaningful and memorable. Basketball, you have given me a life team that I can never repay you for. You have supplied me with a platform that allows me to give back, to inspire, motivate, encourage individuals to go after their passions, to push through their failures and be fearless in stepping out of their comfort zones. It was because of you I was able to start my first company with co-founder Colleen Healy from UConn Women's Basketball called Orca Leadership. Orca standing for opportunity, resilience, contribution, and accountability. All 4 pillars we learned from playing your game. Even further, we were able to start up our own academy called Beyond the Game Academy, helping athletes across the country reach their dreams. I could have never imagined this life, and I have you to thank. Thank you, basketball.
The opportunities that basketball provided for me has been crazy. Being able to travel all over the world, to even a different country, just being able to meet so many different people and build so many different relationships has definitely just opened so many doors for me.
Opportunities that basketball has provided me, just to meet a lot of people, travel a lot of places, around the world and also around the country. It's just, a great experience to make me a more well-rounded person.
Just being able to learn from my teammates, learning really what sacrifice is about, learning about hard work, just being a part of a team, having that support group, having somebody that's there to support you no matter what. It's been great.
Basketball has given me a lot of opportunities. Obviously, just traveling and coming here, this is special. And we went to Spain over the summer, and I had never been out the country before that, so it was special. And obviously, just giving me a free education. It's a big thing, and I'm glad basketball has been able to do it for me.
It's provided a lot of opportunities, provided me to get a college degree, travel places that I never thought I would travel to, and just meet new people.
I'd say basketball has just provided me with a variety of opportunities. Just the connections that I made in the Purdue community, and kind of just growing as a player and as a person has. I'm definitely blessed and grateful to have all these opportunities.
Dear basketball, since I was a kid, you have always been a way for me to clear my mind of everything going on in life and just have fun playing and competing. You led me to seeing you where I've become a part of a close-knit basketball family. You've let me build a relationship with my brothers that not many people get to experience, and these relationships have been able to grow and will certainly last a lifetime. You have taught me that this sport is more than getting the best stats or winning the most games, but it's about enjoying the experience, making a difference in the community, and always competing at my highest level. Through great leadership from Coach K and other coaches, you have given me top-of-the-line resources to learn not only about the game, but about life and being a man of integrity and humility. I would not be the person I am today if it wasn't for you, and I am forever grateful for the lessons you have taught me and the memories that I will have for the rest of my life.
College basketball has provided me with a platform to not only have fun on the court and be around some amazing teammates, but also kind of supplement academics with just another side of the Notre Dame experience, because sports are such an important part of the tradition there, and being a part of the Notre Dame sports tradition in any way is just an incredible honor. It's amazing. Just being here all week, there's just so much recognition for such an amazing sport and such amazing teams that are here, and to be a part of that in any small way is just incredible, and I'm so lucky to be here. Just the value of determination, perseverance, and self-confidence in getting where you want to go in life. I've definitely learned a lot being around a team of such strong, inspiring women, and I can only hope to emulate their talent on the basketball court in other parts of my life. I'm a computer science major in Notre Dame's College of Engineering, and I was really drawn to it because I've always kind of loved math and science, and it's a really fun way to apply problem-solving skills to different situations, especially in today's day and age where technology is becoming such an integral part of society. Just figuring out different ways I can contribute to that. I'm really excited to see where it'll take me in the future. I think just the general mindset of approaching something from how can I solve this in not only the best way but the most efficient way, because there's a big emphasis on that in a lot of my classes, and just kind of seeing how the sports world and the academic world can overlap, even with just the GPS things that we wear during practice to keep track of how hard we're working. Just the technology behind that is super interesting to me also. When I first came to campus, I was hoping to get involved in the women's basketball program in some way, and I applied to be a manager, and I thought that would be an awesome opportunity, super excited. And then I got an email about walk-on tryouts. I'm like, oh, this would be a great way to go meet other girls to play pickup with. I had no idea it would lead to any of this, trust me, but I'm so glad it has. And after that, that's how I met some of the women's basketball people and how I got connected to be a team manager for the program. So I started doing that first semester of my freshman year, and then, as you probably know the story, last year with the 4 ACL tears, they just needed another practice player kind of thing. So I turned from a manager to a walk-on and got the opportunity to go in some games, just help the team out any way I could, and that was an incredible ride, obviously ending with the championship last season, which was amazing. And then same thing this year, kind of just some injuries happened and they needed someone to step up, so I'm here to be whatever they need me to be, and I'm so blessed to be a part of this program in any way. Kind of going between the manager and walk-on role, it is a different type of thing I'm doing, but it's still being around the same girls every day and just being around the team. And for me, that was such a valuable thing. And again, I guess my passion for basketball and how much I just love the sport kind of made that seem easy. Not really something I thought about a ton, just because every day it wasn't about what I could do. It was just about kind of getting out and playing the game I love every day and just being around it in any way.
basketball has given me everything in my life. It's given me a chance to get a college education. Gives my families to take like trips to these cool tournaments we go to, and most importantly, my relationships with the people I've met throughout the years, and Coach Izzo down to my junior high coach. It's provided me with great relationships with teammates and guys that I'll be talking to for the rest of my life.
Basketball has provided me with just obviously the education portion of it is huge, and also just the relationships I was able to build with my teammates, guys on different teams that go to my school, like the football team and the soccer team. There's also just the relationships that I'm able to build outside of, athletics, and I believe that's huge, just being able to go and meet new people, especially at a big university like Ohio State, and just kind of get your network around and just see the way different people think and react to things.
I'd say basketball provided me with, the opportunity just to be around good people and meet people that can help me in life and give me a free education and be able to somewhat set myself up for a better life.
It has offered me opportunity to go to college, to leave my hometown, travel the world, build outstanding relationships and friendships. I'm forever grateful and owe a lot of gratitude to the game of basketball and to God for putting the basketball in my hands. So basketball has really blessed me a lot.
Joe Foreman and Nick Bavona back with you from the tank as we're about 2 minutes away from the start of the second half. We'll be rejoined by Nick Durst shortly as he conducted our halftime interview with women's basketball head coach Nicole Sarcone. But Nick Bavona, you nailed it. The Dolphins needed a strong finish to that first half to get back in this game. That is exactly what CSI got.
And they did it on both sides of the court. They were able to force a couple turnovers against the Wildcats. Got some three-pointers to fall as well. Towards the end of that half, we saw Madison Haggett hit one. Lizzie LaFar hit one as well. And now the Dolphins are within 12 points going into this half. So CSI still has a chance in this one if they can continue what they did at the end of the first half and counter over it into the second half and try to get a come-from-behind win for the second straight time here at the tank.
Well, taking a look at some first half stats, the Dolphins just 9 of 32 from the field, just above 28% for the game thus far, only 2 of 12 from 3. They have held the Wildcats to just 3 of 10 from beyond the arc. That's helped keep them within striking distance. They've also won the turnover battle. Daemen has turned it over 7 times, CSI only 6. However, the Wildcats shooting 52% from the field in this game, and that simply won't be good enough for the Dolphins on the defensive side the rest of the way. That being said, in the second quarter, they held Daemen to just 10 points and scored 15. They were able to chip away at that lead.
And we saw in the playoff game these two teams had where Daemen had a quarter where they scored only 8 points, and CSI took advantage of that, and that's why they had that halftime lead. Now, unfortunately, as you mentioned, the second half got away from the Dolphins, and they scored only a combined 16 team total points. It's just why they lost that game. Now, if they're able to keep it going here in the second half in terms of getting more points scored on the offensive side while holding Daemen to a certain amount of points like they did at the end of the second quarter, CSI can then really make this one interesting going into the fourth.
This third quarter going to be pivotal for the Dolphins. We saw it when CSI visited Daemen. The third quarter was the start of the Wildcat resurgence in that game. They only outscored the Dolphins 12-7, but after the Dolphins had scored 18 in each of the first 2 quarters, to score only 7 in the third really demonstrated a complete shift in the trajectory of that game. The Wildcats then proceeded to outscore the Dolphins 21-9 in the fourth. The final margin of victory in that game, 12 points. That was the difference in the scoring in the fourth. As we begin the second half from the tank, we are rejoined on the call by Nick Durst. Once again, this is Joe Foreman alongside Nick Durst and our engineer tonight, Nick Bavona, on the call. The three of us all expect to be back with you on Sunday as well as the Dolphins host Deauville University here at the tank. Business to take care of for the Dolphins before that as they look to complete another comeback in this game, and that's a good start as Page is off the mark on the turnaround jumper.
Well, I talked to Coach Sarcone at the half, as you heard, and she said the reason they got back in it was the good defense leading to some easy offense, and the extra ball movement leads to open three-point attempts, and that's what the Dolphins are going to have to continue to do if they want to continue to fight back into this one and claw back into the Wildcats' lead.
And something not to be overlooked from late in that first half is That three-pointer is off by Matz. The Wildcats were without Alana Page for much of that second quarter as Lambert cuts the lead to 10.
Well, happy birthday to Ashley. She celebrated her birthday yesterday, and she is looking to cap off the birthday week with a big victory.
10-point game, just under 9 minutes to play in the third. Page thought about the three instead. Will pick up her dribble and feed it inside. Angeletti, double team, kick out. Page open for three, no good. And a foul was called as Pikett grabbed the offensive rebound.
You gotta like the defensive effort right there from Masinge, where they went inside the post, tried to get the mismatch, forced the double team, they kicked it back out to Page, and Masinge was able to get a hand in Page's face as she shot that three-pointer.
Non-shooting foul. First team foul of the quarter for the Dolphins. This is Page, defended by Masinge. Feed to Pikett. And the Dolphins bench was all over it as the 3-second violation was called on Pikett.
Well, strong start for the Dolphins here defensively. 10-point game. And now with the chance to make it 8 or 7.
Dolphins have turned things around in this game. Big possession here for CSI. Masinge nearly had it stripped away. Johnson now looks to drive. She gets inside, and the floater won't go. Rose couldn't save it either, and it will be Wildcats basketball. We said it coming out of halftime. The Dolphins defensively with a really nice second quarter. That's continued here in the third early. Angeletti backing in, nearly had it stripped away. Now McDuffie defended by Rose, almost lost it. McDuffie can't get the jumper to go, falling away. Here comes Lambert. Lambert out to Phelan. That's short from three. Masinge tips the rebound to Rose. Rose looked open there, didn't shoot it. And the Dolphins will reset.
Dolphins have certainly followed this script before, which is come back from big from behind with a huge second half. But Johnson travels there.
Dolphins turn it over. And the Wildcats will get it back, still leading by 10. As Kyra Rose heads over to the bench. And it looks like they might be attending to a cut. The Dolphins will be without Rose for a short time, it appears. Oya Consola-Oke checks in.
Dolphins very small right now on the court. Have to go with the small ball. Wildcats towering over the Dolphins.
A lot of tough matchups for the Dolphins out there on the floor right now. Page for La Pertosa. And a foul is called. Masinge didn't like it. And it looks like they're going to say that was in the act of shooting. Free throws for La Pertosa here. And the first is no good. One of two trip to the line for the sophomore forward. Wildcats lead by 11 now. That was Daemen's first point of the third quarter. As Masinge was rejected, but once again, the Wildcats go over 3 minutes without a basket.
Long drought, but so far Dolphins have not been able to capitalize.
This is Lambert for Masinge. Masinge backs in, and the layup won't go. Masinge has had some good chances around the basket, but she's just 2 of 6. La Pertosa with the left hand throws up a wild shot. Dolphins get yet another stop. Lambert with a nice move, gets open and can't connect on the jumper. It will be Wildcats basketball as Lizzie LaFaro checks in for CSI. Lambert to the bench.
Been a rough third quarter, both teams when it comes to field goal percentage rise. Daemen's still looking for their first field goal of this second half. Meanwhile, the Dolphins are now 1 of 7.
Defensively, the Dolphins have really stepped up since the start of the second quarter. And the offense has been better, but they need another run, and that won't help as Page knocks down a 3.
Big 3 by number 3. Page just destroying the Dolphins so far tonight. 13 points.
That's her third three-pointer in 7 tries as Phelan was way off. Masinge can't get the putback. And that possession hurts for the Dolphins. 2 quality looks would not go. Duffy surveys the floor with 15 on the shot clock. Page. Attacks, fakes, and Pikett left wide open, buries the 3.
Pikett parked at the top of the key and drains the easy 3.
Just like that, it's back to a 17-point lead. The Dolphins will call timeout. And in just a couple of possessions, 2 3-pointers have put the Wildcats right back where they were late in the second. Our score, Daemen 42, Staten Island 25.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's will you?
4:55 to go in the third quarter from the tank. The Dolphins now trail by 17 once again. And late in that first half, the Dolphins trailed by 17. Back-to-back 3-pointers put CSI right back in the game. In fact, it may have been 18. But nonetheless, the Dolphins propelled back into the game by the 3-ball. The Wildcats have now surged back ahead behind the 3-pointer.
Yeah, they're taking command now, totally regaining all the momentum as we get set for action to resume here, Nick.
When it comes down to it, Joe muted the wrong mic, but Joe's going to 10 over to the other side of the table for now, so it's going to be you and I on the call.
All right, Nick, take it away. You got the play-by-play.
We'll have to see what the Dolphins could do now with this 17-point deficit. As Weesey hands it off to LaFaro, she gives it up to Phelan. Now to Oke. Oke drives to the basket, but is rejected on the play, and it will remain Dolphins basketball.
Big block there.
That was Lapertosa, who leads the team in blocks on the season.
Definitely has the height and the wingspan.
And I think we're going to a media timeout, Nick.
Looks like it. Quick media timeout. So we'll step aside here, and when we come back, it'll be 4:44 remaining in third quarter. And right now, Wildcats are ahead 42-25.
As a student athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experience as possible.
We're back here at the tank with 4:44 to go in the third quarter. Dolphins still trailing 42-25. And Nick, the Dolphins have had a rough start here in the second half in terms of offense. Just 1 of 10 to start this second half. What do they need to do down the stretch of this third quarter going into the fourth to keep this one close?
I think they need to attack and be aggressive on the defensive end, force turnovers, which can lead to some reasonably easy buckets in transition in order to trim the lead. And they need to start making all those threes.
This is Haggett for 3. Splash.
That'll help. That'll help right there. Haggett with her second 3 of the game.
Big 3 from Haggett right there to make it a 14-point game as Joe Foreman is now back on the call with us.
We were having some audio issues in the gymnasium. I had to head over and take care of that. as Pikett answers right back with a tough bank shot in traffic. The lead back to 16 for Daemen.
Well, we're glad to hear you did fix the PA sound system. We heard a little music there on that break.
Right at the tail end, but we got some music playing late. This is okay, left open. Splash!
Okay. Back-to-back threes now with her and Haggett. Trimming the deficit once again.
It's very eerie resemblance from what happened in the second quarter. Dolphins hitting threes to cut the deficit to 12. Now they've cut the deficit to 13.
The Dolphins beginning to heat up from the outside since an 0 of 9 start. They've hit 4 of their last 7 from beyond the arc. Weesey for LaFaro. Lizzie looks to drive. She gets inside, can't finish. Okay has the rebound, can't put it back in. Okay has it again. Throws up another shot and can't finish.
Looks like there's a little contact there on the LaFaro shot attempt.
Fake inside by McDuffie. She can't finish. Good defense by Weesey. Dolphins have been very strong defensively since the start of the second quarter. Only 19 points since the start of quarter number 2, as Haggett can't connect on the 3. Dolphins are going to need to knock down their three-pointers to get back within single digits. Those are the looks they're getting right now, as a foul was called on the inside.
Third foul, the Dolphins.
Kyra Rose back in. Oya Consola Oke heads to the bench. Claire Pikett heads to the line. 2 shots. That last foul, the third CSI team foul in this third quarter. Daemen yet to commit a foul in quarter number 3. And free throws no good off back iron.
Page and Pikett were both the catalyst for the Wildcats getting the win over the Dolphins the first time these two teams met this year. She missed the second one right there. They lead the team right now in scoring, 13-11 respectively.
And LaFaro with an aggressive drive, got inside, couldn't finish. Now she's left open for 3, and that's an air ball, but Phelan has the rebound. Still time, 10 to shoot. LaFaro finds Phelan from way downtown. No good.
Almost fell, too.
That was a deep three-pointer by Phelan. That may have been the shot the Dolphins needed to energize this crowd a bit. CSI cheer bringing the energy, but the Dolphins need to try and get this home crowd back in this game. That crowd has grown larger progressively throughout the game, as a loose ball foul was called against the Wildcats.
Well, Joe and Nick, if the Dolphins can finish this quarter and get it to a single-digit deficit, which is plausible, they will have a nice shot to potentially tie this one in the fourth quarter.
What's unfortunate about that is that we said the same exact thing at the end of the second quarter. And
well, Nick said that they got to get to within 10. They did.
Dolphins would prefer not to go into the fourth trailing by double digits, but we'll see what they can do in the final 142 as Rose turns it over.
Need a turnover and a 3 here. That'll help a lot.
The defense has been there. Each of the last 2 quarters have been good defensive quarters for the Dolphins, but that not an example of it. That's an easy 2 for Julia Howard. 1:15 to go in the period. Haggett thought about a 3. Now Rose will back in. Rose goes up. Can't finish. Good defense by La Petosa.
Dolphins need to figure out a way to get Haggett open at the 3-point line.
Well, after a couple of made 3s, it looks like the Wildcats have begun to close in a bit more aggressively on shooters. And the Dolphins once again now forced to work it inside a bit more. And Weesey can't finish. Travel was called against Page.
So the fans pointing to the travel, as you saw on the camera there. One official did not make any call, but the official across the court did come in to make the call for the travel.
Dolphins will get a 30-second shot clock as the Wildcats did gain possession long enough to travel. Haggett out to Phelan. Alfaro right back to Haggett. Haggett draws the foul.
0.9 differential between the game clock and the shot clock, as Haggett will now go to the free throw line for 2.
Two shots for Haggett. She has 6, 2 of 4 from the field. All of those attempts, 3-pointers. Too strong on the second. And Laportoza has the rebound. .12 to shoot, as Nick mentioned. Shot clock and game clock, less than a second difference. And you can count that basket for Julia Hauer and one. And that is not the end to the quarter the Dolphins were looking for.
This is just very reminiscent of the Knicks game last night, where the Knicks were out without some of their best key players, and they also had a short bench after the trade, and they just cannot compete with the Mavs here. So Dolphins a little short-handed. Had a nice run, kept it close for a while, but right now, down 18.
I think the Knicks didn't get it done because I wasn't there. I'm undefeated at the Garden this season.
I don't know. I mean, if you were there, no Brunson, no Randall, no OG.
And that'll do it for the third quarter as LaFaro's shot won't go. Dolphins had cut the lead down to 12 by halftime. They now trail by 19. Our score, Daemen 51, Staten Island 32, headed to the fourth.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
And we're back from the tank. Fourth quarter just getting underway from the College of Staten Island. The Dolphins trail by 19. CSI with a couple of runs in this game, but not enough yet to get well within striking distance, as the miss is rebounded by Rose, who puts it back up and in.
Unfortunately, guys, the Dolphins just had a rough third quarter. 3 of 21 from the field. That's really what did them in that quarter, only scoring 9 points from the field.
3 of 21. Not going to get it done. The encouraging part of that is they got 21 shot attempts. Daemen only had 13. Dolphins with some second chances created via the hustle, but that has not translated into buckets. This is Rose looking inside. Now Brianna Moore, right back out to Rose. Rose drives the baseline, can't finish, has her own miss, and will kick out to LaFaro. LaFaro thought about the three, and she will reset with 12 on the shot clock. Deep three-pointer, no good. Here comes Paige racing up the floor. Feet inside, Angeletti can't get the layup to go. LaFaro back the other way for Rose. And that one was smacked off of Rose. Good effort there by Pikett. And it will be Wildcats basketball. Just over 8.5 to go, fourth quarter. Daemen lead, 17 points. Feet inside. Howard, nice fake, and the reverse layup is good.
Nice play by Howard right there to get Moore to jump, and was able to get that 2 points to now extend the lead to 19 for the Wildcats.
Masinghe. Bounce pass for Rose. Rose goes up and can't finish. Gets her own miss again and banks in the putback.
Well, right now, the best offense in this quarter for the Dolphins has been offensive rebound by Rose and cleaning up the glass. Right now, she is.
Rose now has attempted 11 shots. She's 4 of 11, 8 points.
6 rebounds, at least 2 offensive.
And Pikett for 3.
Pikett's been able to do that all night long. There's just no answer for her up there.
Pikett, a threat around the basket, a threat from beyond the arc. And she's altered plenty of shots defensively. She's done it all tonight. As Masinghe knocks down the jumper. You know, the Dolphins bench likes to see that from Masinghe. Deficit 18 for CSI. As Matz can't connect from deep, but Hauer has the rebound. Now Paige. Nice move, draws contact, and will head to the line.
Dolphins foul number 5, Madison Haggett, her first, team's first.
That's Haggett's first. First team foul for the Dolphins in this fourth quarter. Haggett, LaFaro, and Rose to the bench. Phelan, Lambert, Johnson back in for CSI. One more free throw coming up for Paige. And that will match Daemen's largest lead of 20 points. Lambert. Up to Johnson. Johnson for Phelan. And Masinghe, top of the arc. Lambert, right back to Masinghe. Masinghe off the crossover, draws the foul. It's been a busy night for Masinghe. 8 points, 7 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. Just 3 of 9 from the field, but she's made the Daemen defense work. Has gotten to the line quite a bit. Free throw number 5 coming up here.
Certainly done a great job getting to the rim.
And say what you want about the deficit, but the effort has certainly been there from the Dolphins in this game. Unfortunately, just couldn't get the shots to fall down in this one. And now, as we mentioned, they have a game on Sunday, so there'll have to be a quick turnaround for this team against the UofL.
Yeah, and hopefully Genelise Alarcon is going to be cleared to play in that one because they will need her.
Well, if you look back at this game when it's over, and we still have about 6.5 minutes to go, but I think when you look back at this game, the story is going to be the first quarter. The Dolphins were outscored 25-8, couldn't find their footing offensively, and struggled to get stops. Alana Page also gave them fits, as the lead is now 21 after that last Page three-pointer. But outside of the first quarter, the Dolphins are only a -4 in this game. This is Lambert for Johnson, left open, and she knocks it down.
For 2, Maya Johnson.
Once Page got into foul trouble for Daemen, this game really turned, especially at the offensive end of the floor for the Wildcats. They really struggled to score without Page on the floor. Dolphins took advantage, but once Page came back in, things changed quickly, and that continues here in this fourth quarter.
Got the hot hand right now with another 3 right there. It gives her 23 points for this game. 22, as they're going to rule that a 2-pointer, so correction on that one. But nonetheless, it's been a great game for her, and like she did the last time these two teams met, had 19 in the previous meeting. With her scoring this many points, it allows players like Pickett, who also has had a big game, to establish themselves and get some points. Or Pikett, excuse me.
Just over 5 minutes to play. Daemen leads by 21. And we touched on it earlier in the game, but we'll go back to it now as this game draws closer to its conclusion. In terms of East Coast Conference standings, the Dolphins very much would have liked to have this game. However, they didn't need this game. I think every game is critically important down the stretch, but what margin for error the Dolphins had, they used it here tonight, because with this loss, assuming the Dolphins don't come back in these final 5 minutes, CSI would drop to 4-7 in conference play. If I'm not mistaken, there was a battle between CSI and Malloy for the last playoff spot last season as well. The Dolphins ultimately worked their way into the playoffs, but dropping to 4-7 ties them with Malloy. As of today, the Dolphins have the tiebreaker with the Lions, having defeated them earlier this season. That being said, we look ahead to the final game of the season, and the Dolphins, or I should say the final home game, the Dolphins host Malloy. Without a doubt, that is going to be a huge game.
Yeah, it seems as if things go out the way they turn out, it seems that could be a win-in scenario for those two teams. And given the fact that it's also senior day, that adds a lot more implications for those players going out on the court in that game.
Roberts Wesleyan 1-7, Queens 2-9, Malloy 4-7, Staten Island 4-7. 2 of those 4 teams right now, or I should say 3 of those 4 currently on the outside looking in. Those 3 being Malloy, Queens, and Roberts Wesleyan. Of course, Malloy the closest team to the Dolphins at 4-7. Queens at 2-9, the second closest team to CSI. And who do the Dolphins play in the last game of their season? That game on the road? Queens College. So that game could be big as well if Queens is able to make a push.
We're looking at perhaps history repeating itself. Didn't the Dolphins, they snuck in last year and they went to District of Columbia for the playoff game?
They did.
And that's as Johnson knocks it down. That's what would be the case right now.
Yep.
If they do make it.
A lot of possibilities looming as we've entered the final month of the East Coast Conference season. Though technically, there is one regular season game in March. However, less than 30 days to go in the season. So I think once you reach February, it's okay to start talking playoff scenarios. That's
March
always
Madness.
been my perspective. The foul's called on that last shot attempt. Montgomery will head to the line. If the Dolphins do not win on Sunday, it would be very difficult for them, if not impossible. I don't think it would be mathematically impossible, but it would be very, very difficult for them to host a playoff game. And you know that these teams all aspire to host playoff games come March.
Yeah. You don't want to be the 2 seed, though, because you don't get a home playoff game.
You do get a bye. So those byes always valuable. And just ask UDC last year how valuable a bye is, because if they're able to work their way up into the 2 seed, they don't face a Dolphins team that played their best basketball at the most important time of the season, in playoff time. And that can happen to any team that is forced to play extra playoff games.
Can't take it away from these Dolphins. The first ever playoff win in their D2 history. Although none of the teams compare to Alberta with the E-Gaming, who just keep racking up the championships.
Esports right now in a class of its own among our club sports programs, but the first ever varsity sports program to earn a postseason victory. Women's basketball last year at UDC, they nearly made it 2 in their matchup with Daemen.
Well, Joe, it's going to be a crazy home stretch here for the two basketball teams, but it's going to be even crazier close out to February for you.
It's going to be a very busy March for me. I have a lot on the agenda early in March, late in February. Later this month, softball opens their season. When softball opens their season here at home on February 23rd, we're still going to have another basketball home game to come after that. So plenty on the schedule that week. We have basketball on 2/21, softball on 2/23, basketball on 2/28, and then baseball opens up at Staten Island University Hospital Community Park with their first home game on March 1st.
Well, I was at the softball field today, and it was in pretty good shape considering where we are on the calendar right now. Team was out there. They were playing a little inter-squad scrimmage, so the girls are ready to go.
I'm cautiously optimistic, given the weather. Watch out.
Well, that was just a big save right there by the Wildcats for your laptop.
We'll take it. That was headed right for us, but after the basketball season, or I should say the basketball regular season concludes on March 2nd, I'm on a flight to Florida on March 3rd. CSI softball back at the spring games. I will be there again this year. As of now, I plan to broadcast the games audio only. That is dependent upon the internet connectivity at the facility. We'll see how we do this year. We didn't do so well last year, but I think we will be okay this year.
Are you bringing Andrew back to engineer?
Andrew cannot come this year. He is on probation at his new job until March 30th, cannot request time off. So
makes sense.
This year, I don't want to make any promises, but we might have a first-time appearance from a special guest on Sportsnet as our game clock operator from tonight's game, Patrick Fleming, who is a baseball player, will be on the trip with me. Whether or not he puts on a headset remains to be seen.
He's also a very good softball player. Plays on my softball team.
We saw what he did in the faculty staff versus students game. Very big performance from him in that one.
So no nonsense Nino. He's not going, I'm guessing.
If Nino does make the trip, it would be on Wednesday following a potential CSI playoff game. Now, there's still plenty to be decided. We'll talk more about the men ahead of their game coming up next. But if the men do host a playoff game on Wednesday, I will have to fly back and cover that game here. So if I do, there is a chance that Nino could fly back out to Florida with me for the final 2 days of softball. Still a lot of moving parts.
Pat's going to stay in Tampa?
He would stay. He would drive me to the airport. He would stay in Tampa, and I would return on Thursday.
Who's going to do the shot clock then?
That remains to be seen.
Pat has not missed the game this season. Maybe one after Thanksgiving, but
he's missed one or two. He won't be here Sunday.
Can't blame him.
I can't blame him either, but Super Bowl time for me personally is the busiest time of the year, by far.
Well, it's certainly not going to be a good game, so I don't really care. But I do want to get out of here and eat dinner.
The food is certainly what I look forward to the most. Meanwhile, just over a minute to go from the tank.
I'll have to ask you, we got a minute here because the three of us did a broadcast before Thanksgiving. I asked you, Joe, what's your go-to Thanksgiving food? And you said pasta with vodka sauce. So what's your go-to Super Bowl meal? I think it's probably wings.
I'm not in control of the menu this year. I've been told that lasagna is on the menu.
Lasagna for the Super Bowl. Interesting.
Yeah.
Where is this party being held?
It is a two-man party visiting my father at his home in New Jersey.
No, Jackson. All right.
Soon to be my home.
Maybe
by the end of the year, I will be moving to New Jersey.
Really?
I will be moving to New Jersey by the end of the year. So that will certainly affect my schedule moving forward. So we'll see how that plays out.
It's going to make it a lot further away from Citi Field.
Well, the good news is I won't be much further from CSI. Obviously further than I am now. I'm a walking 15 minutes, but in terms of driving, I'm about 2. Next year, I'll be about 25, so I'll be a little bit further. However, when it comes to New York City, I can hop on a train. I'm there in an hour. So not bad, not bad. However, for the Dolphins, not the result they were looking for tonight. Our final score, Daemen 71, Staten Island 44. The Wildcats improved to 9-1 in the ECC. They are now 14-5 on the season. The Dolphins 7-14 overall. They are 4-7 in conference play. They fall into a tie with Malloy for the final East Coast Conference playoff spot. The Dolphins own that tiebreaker by virtue of their victory over the Lions earlier this season. For women's basketball, they are right back in action here at the Tank on Sunday. They will host D'Youville University. D'Youville right now, one spot ahead of the Dolphins in the conference standings. If the Dolphins do not win against the Saints on Sunday, I think that puts to bed any hopes of potentially hosting a playoff game, if not mathematically, then in terms of how likely that is to happen. But nonetheless, a big game for CSI looming on Super Bowl Sunday. They will hope to have Jenelise Alarcon back for that game. However, for us, we have one more game on the schedule here tonight, as men's basketball will host Daemen University coming up next here on CSI Sportsnet. That game, of course, will be on a separate stream. That game getting underway at about 7:30, which will put us on the air at about 7:15. Messiah Mallory will be presented with a basketball commemorating his 1,000th career point. He achieved that milestone last month. Be sure to tune in and catch that presentation ahead of our men's game. But until then, this has been Joe Foreman alongside Nick Durst and our engineer tonight, Nick Bavona. All of us back with you for our men's game coming up in about 15 minutes.